Hello, everybody. My name is Rodgon. I'm an artist, designer, teacher, mentor, cartoonist, editor, everything in between. And today we are going to finish a sketchbook because we have achieved what a lot of people love doing, and we have finally gotten to the end of our book. And now it's time to finish it off with a little bit of pizzazz. Now, before we get to our final sketch, I want to do a little walkthrough of the sketchbook. And you guys bear in mind that these are sketches that I have been doing since October 3rd, and that has been the deadline since I started this sketchbook. So, I normally like to put all the things that I normally don't post, or like the things that I draw outside, as the covers for my sketchbooks. And then I just doodle on every inch that I can if my sketchbook is possible. So, let's see. And this one I wanted to do more of a storytelling type of thing. I wanted to be able to tell my stories and what I like to do a little bit more. So I practice a lot of anatomy, I practice a lot of perspective, and I practice a lot of posing. I also went deeper into how the structures of the methods that I'm trying to teach, how they work, and how they are, going about things. Right? I started working a little bit more on my actual pinups, and I think that I have achieved a good level of awareness of the female shape now that I can actually use it as my own, like start breaking it down for my own, doing self drawings of myself and working on commissions, some more comics. I've always been a big fan of editorial comics. Comics like Zitz, Calvin and Hobbes, Garfield, and any of those have always been my main inspiration when it comes down to my drawing style. So it should come as no surprise that I actually like drawing like that quite a bit. So most of these drawings were done through the streams, and it was actually really, really awesome to journal a little bit of my life and a little bit of my teachings for you all to have. Now, as you can see, a lot of these are anatomy drawings, a lot of these are lessons that I have gotten a chance to teach you guys. So all these are videos that are available for you guys to watch and stream. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan this book, and then I'm going to print it, and then I'm going to sell it to you guys for inspiration, right? That way that you guys can just flip to a random page, choose anything to draw over, and then you guys can just draw that. Flip to a random page. Oh, this one has a skull. Cool. Now we can draw skulls today. Oh, this has a monster. Let's draw that. Ooh, random page. Oh, cool. Disney characters. Let's draw a Disney character. Oh, let's color this in. Oh, let's just fill it out. Or let's study it. I think that that would actually be quite useful for people. To just be able to flip to a random thing and then just either color them in themselves so they get used to it, or they can just use it to practice and draw over it and not feel bad about drawing on their own book. Ta-da! This was me when I saw Vicky this last time. I'm gonna like draw the whole comic for it. But yeah, like I think that's gonna be like what I'm gonna do with these, and then we'll see how that goes. If that actually goes well, I can actually make about 27 of these. I could make so many of these because that is the amount of sketchbooks that I have. Ta-da! All right, so that was yesterday's lesson. Yesterday's lesson was really good. It was about the skulls and hard surfaces, and that one's on my YouTube right now. Go into the live stream section though. Go into the live. If you go there, you'll see about like 50 something videos, recent videos, that these are the streams that you guys see. All right, so ta-da! Now we get to the final page. This is our page for today, and let's get this going. Let me load up the YouTube channel chats. Emily Arts, what's up? Hey, she's always here. I gotta admire that dedication. Hey everyone. Hey Ems. Oh, people are starting to get to know each other in the stream. I'm so proud. Okay, so let's see. How do we want to draw this? We drew a lot about anatomy and we drew a lot about posing. So this has to be like a glorious pose. So let's try to do something a little bit more difficult than normal. We'll do like a yoga pose. Cool. The first thing that I like to do is I like to map out with just blocks and blobs everything that's going to give me the feel that I want for my pose. Now in this case I want my chest protruding a little bit, so I want my chest out. So I'm going to draw the bottom part of my rib cage. This is going to give me an angle to my back, and I want my legs to be crossed, so I know that my legs are going to be coming out of my hips right from there. One leg is going to be pointing forward. It's going to be covering a lot. If I make my thigh coming out, maybe I make my thigh coming out from a little higher, just so I can get that depth. There. I'm going to make myself floating. That's what's going to be happening. Because I feel like I'm in cloud 9 every time that I finish a sketchbook. Then from there, I need to figure out what I'm going to be doing with my hands. Now, I have been working out quite a bit, so I want to make sure that I show some definition to my body. So I'm going to create a midline here, and I'm going to have my hands coming both this way and this way. Because if this is the middle and I'm just thinking of my hands like they're tied together in a big sweater or something, this is how they would look like coming out of the shoulders. Like a big tube. Boop, 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 boop. Oh no! What is going on with the YouTube stuff? Jesus. YouTube sucks. And actually, my webcam sucks. YouTube doesn't suck. My webcam is just horrible. Let's see. Alright, is this better? That seems a little better. There you go. I think that's better. Let me know in the chat though if it's better or not. Okay, so if we have our arms, and I'm gonna be like just folding my arms up, then I'm gonna have my hands doing something similar to this. So now I have one arm. It's gonna be a really long arm, unless I make the hand come farther up this way. So now I have the shape for my arm, I have the rough posing for my arm connecting to my body, and I have my shoulders, which I can turn into my collarbone. Cool. Now from there, I want to decide what type of head shape I want to do. Do I want to be looking up? Do I want to be looking to the side? Do I want to be looking down? I'm gonna do like a little bit of looking up pose. Just slightly. Now my jaw would be coming from ear. The jaw comes around into the other ear. But the other ear, this is not the jaw. Okay? In a 3/4 view, this is not the jaw. The jaw is here, comes here to your chin, and then it goes behind to your other ear. But that's what you need to know in order to connect your neck to all the spots that require. You need to find both the bottom of the ear to connect your ears to your neck. All right, let's see. Oh, that's great. I really have an infection. Okay, cool. All right. So now I have the general shape of my head. I might make my shoulders a little bit more straight. Cool. I like my baggy pants, but I need to figure out how my feet are going to be shaped here. So if this is my ankle, this is my knee, that means that this is my shin, which means that it connects to my ankle right here. And I'm going to have this foot going this way. And then this one, kneecap, shin, ankle. We can make it coming out this way. Cool. Let's see. Hips into pants. I always have my mom's necklace. My necklace contains 3 items from the people that are most important to me. It contains a little jar with a little bit of my mom's perfume. It has a little ring that my dad gave me for good luck. And it has a little charm from Vicky, my partner. So I like to have those on every single one. Faceless Scientist. Aw, thank you. Thank you for sending that. That's nice. I appreciate you. Okay, so now that we have that, now I can start adding little details to my pose, but I still need to add my sketchbook right here. And I'm not gonna draw it in like a flat, boring perspective. I'm gonna try to like do something cool. Like give it like a different view. Like try to like push what you know. Like completing a sketchbook is a huge endeavor. So, like it's All right. So let's continue on. Now, as you guys can see, this is starting to actually develop shape. We're starting to see patterns. We're starting to see actual volume within our things. I haven't added any details, so I don't know what style I'm gonna go with. I'm not. I haven't decided even like what type of line work to use with this. So now I have to start deciding what I want to achieve and what type of level of detail I want to go with. Sorry guys, I'm responding to an email. All right. So as you start developing a little bit more of your line work, you have to start thinking about these elements like the basic shapes that we are used to drawing, right? So the neck is essentially just a tube, right? It's a cylinder that goes into a sphere. Or right here, we'll go with the chest. This part of your cylinder connects to your rib cage. Right? So this is how you connect the rib cage to your neck. It actually goes in at an angle, but it connects and it intertwines a little bit, and then that's what creates your collarbone. And your collarbone connects to your shoulder points. So I gotta adjust this one right now. So if this one is our little lat muscles, and this is my shoulder, then I have to match that one over here. Right now, if I draw it where I drew my sketch line, it's going to be really far away from the rest of my body. So I need to bring that in and match it according to this side. So just more like here, actually. Hello, everybody. There are like 15 of us here, but the what? Hello, everybody. No, I just noticed your nickname is Rodgon, not Raccoon. What? Raccoon? Raccoon the artist? That would be funny. Okay, then when you get to the point where you are drawing like elements of the anatomy, it really is going to depend on your level of knowledge of anatomy to make sure that you can actually draw those things. But it takes time to understand how the muscles intersect and intertwine, but if you practice enough and you try you really, really hard to study and like self-reflect whenever you don't get it right and fix your mistakes and actually be critical of yourself, then you might be able to actually get like a lot done really, really quickly. A lot of the times we don't progress because we don't allow ourselves to progress. We think and we have egos, and we have like huge like things that like stop us, like arrogance, from like realizing that we have a lot to learn still. Regardless, I've been doing this for 20 years and I learn something new almost every time that I draw with you guys. Because I'm constantly analyzing what I'm doing as well. You need to be self reflective and you need to be able to understand that there is so much for you to learn. Just simply being able to visualize things more akin of like this is a huge realization that came to me throughout this whole like time that I was drawing this sketchbook. Is being able to visualize and be able to subdivide things like this is absolutely key. And the reason that we learn perspective is so that we can start putting and pulling things away from these like little tiny divisions and know exactly how that works. That is what we use perspective for, and then we use anatomy, our knowledge of anatomy, to be able to map everything out within a body system. So those two things are very crucial to, getting better. And that was very prevalent when I was trying to study how to draw posing a lot more. Hi Rodgon, did you finish the animal form from a bean tutorial and where can I get it? I submitted it over to the people at 21 Draw. So I haven't heard back from them like at all. So I need to like I should probably follow up on them. But yeah, like that whole course is done. It's just waiting to be finished by them and paid for because they haven't paid for it yet. But it shouldn't be a problem. It should just be like a matter of me contacting them and seeing what's up. Yeah, I think I finished that back in November. Let's add some scraggly hairs. You don't understand the art of drawing hair. Okay, well, drawing hair is not an art form by itself. Drawing hair is just the ability to take an element and be able to draw something on top of it. So if this is very hard for you to visualize, then you need to go back and you gotta relearn your basic shapes a little bit more, right? Hair is just that, or hair is just literally things that just go over our heads and go around it. That is all hair is. If you're having trouble with this, right, then you don't really understand the concept of overlapping shapes over each other. And if you don't understand this, then it's probably a safe bet that it's going to be a little bit tough for you to be able to visualize the front and the back of shapes, which is something that's absolutely needed to be able to draw hair, because you need to know how hair falls on one side and how it goes to the other side, because hair wraps around objects, right? Hair wraps around your objects. So you need to learn how to do that so that you can learn how to do that. So practice these exercises and practice putting a slightly bigger sphere over your spheres and then cut that sphere up into a hair shape. And that's how you do that. That's how you get better with hair. It's not about learning how to like flick the pen and you have to add little Z's and you have to add like little curls and the rules of threes. No. See, that's cool if you want to add style to it. But learning how to actually draw it is a different story. Learning how to actually map out hair does not involve anything of this. It just involves you learning how something is there and how to draw something on top of that. That's all hair is. I mean, I know it's an oversimplification, like, but that's if you learn that skill, which is a skill that's just necessary for you to get better anyways. Just learn that skill, then hair will become easy. Muscles will become easy. Clothing will become easy. All these videos just say visualize the mask. Yeah, most of the reason why so many people like, okay, let me explain this because this is the second time somebody tells me that. If you can't, this is like the starting point for any sort of like being able to draw. You need to learn to do this because this is how you learn how to draw jaws. That's how you learn how to draw eyes. That's how you learn to draw bodies, right? That is such a crucial part that it really does annoy me when people think that they understand it. If I took this person aside that's saying that, and I challenge you to do this, okay? Prove to me that you understand this concept before you complain about hearing about it so much. Send me a video. Let me review it in front of everybody. Send me a video of you practicing this and showing me that you demonstrate like a knowledge of this. Enough for you to complain about me repeating this so much. That's simple. What is it? Rodgon, you try to draw yourself in a Rick and Morty style? Not necessarily a Rick and Morty style right now, but I just wanted to draw this one like kind of zen like, because I do feel like I leveled up a lot. A master does not do something just one time; they do it over and over. See, that's quite right. The thing is, it's not just about doing it over and over either, though. It's about doing it over and over with trying to understand it a little bit more each time that you do it. Right? I can spend all day telling you guys about like seeing spheres and dividing them and figuring out your shapes like that. And if you guys don't practice it, or if you guys don't try to analyze and understand it on your own outside of my own teaching, like my own words, then eventually you're gonna hit a point where you're like, oh well, what does that mean? Oh, where does this go? And then that's what I'm trying to help you guys avoid. I'm trying to help you guys not have to rely on somebody and be able to teach yourselves up to a certain extent. That way you guys can just learn anything new that you guys want to learn without feeling hindered. Mr. White. I get that a lot. I was kind of scraggly this time around, so I'm going to add a little bit of facial hair. The beauty of ballpoint pen is that you can get a very fine detail with it. So cross hatching is very cool to do with ballpoint pen. Mr. Rodgon, Spike Doctor, it's so beautiful, thanks. I'm not complaining, I'm just a bit confused about what you mean. Oh, okay. If you're confused by it, you can go back and look at like most of my other streams, but what I mean by it is that a lot of people can't tell the difference between a circle and a sphere. A circle is just a flat 2D shape. There's no depth to it. A sphere, on the other hand, can be spheres like divided like I don't know, with like a surface area. It could be something that's shaded. Some way to determine that this has volume. Split it in half. Whatever you need to do to show that this has depth. The way that I prefer to do it is by taking your sphere and imagining that you're putting rubber bands on it. And how you would see the rubber band from the one side and the other side. And you start this by going and doing it on a circle and then just touching the edges and drawing that same circle, and then try to just get them really close to the edges. Like if it was a rubber band laying on top of it. Do it in different ways. Do it up and down. Do it on just one side and then just imagine the other side. And eventually you get to the point where you can subdivide your shapes like that. Once you understand this, all this is just those shapes. All this is just those shapes just put together. So you would just take your basic shapes and combine them. And then eventually, once you learn a little bit more, you start realizing that all those muscles and hard parts that you have like a difficulty drawing, like the chest area, the armpit area, all that is just intertwining muscles like that. And that's little by little you start noticing more and more detail. And then eventually it gets to the point where you can get a lot of stuff done. But it all starts with learning how to see things like that. And if that's hard for you, you need to work on exercises to be able to see that, so that you can achieve like a facility in drawing that you will never have experienced before. Like you will see yourself be able to draw absolutely anything if you can start seeing things like this. And that is why I repeat it so much. Because it took me 20 years to realize that. 20 years. And I don't want you guys to spend 20 years trying to do it too. That's the whole point of me being a teacher, is to like help you guys out without you guys having to go through the same mistakes that I did. That's what it means to be a teacher. Looks like my message didn't get sent. What sent? Did you draw in anime style, or do you like the style at all? Okay, that's another thing. Style, like anime style, is not relevant to this. I can draw an anime style if I wanted to, but it's literally just taking my characters. Like if I took a single shape, right? Let's say these couple heads, and I wanted to create one that was an anime style and one that wasn't an anime style, they would both start the same way because I need to map out everything about them first. And then I can start giving them the stylings that I want. If I want anime style eyes, it's like super big, ridiculously large eyelids that fit within my eye slots, followed by like, I don't know, whatever stylings of the eyes. Something like that. Or if I wanted to draw something more kind of like a normal comic book, it would be approached in a very similar way. She looks so pissed off. So it's if you have your initial dummy in which you can actually just base every single measurement on, it doesn't matter if you draw cartoony or if you draw more creepy, because you're not adding style to this. This is not a style thing. This is more of like a way to just map out your facial features so that you can make it easy on yourself and not have to stress about thinking about your other details. Am I scared of the future AI art generation? Not at all. I mean, not at all. It's just something interesting that's gonna happen, and like I'm like actually looking forward to seeing what comes out of it. Like I'm not like let me put like two things straight though. Not being scared of it does not mean that I do not see the issues that are wrong with it. Uh, People stealing other people's art is absolutely fucking horrendous, and then claiming it as their own. As a person that puts out a lot of artwork throughout the years, that actually is a pretty troublesome thing to think about. Let's see. Let's come up with a cool hand pose. But am I scared of it? No. Like I'm not threatened by it. I am not considering that anything is gonna take my job. Mostly because for AI to teach better than me, it have to be like very good AI. And if AI got to that point, hey man, good for it, dude. Like humans suck. Humans fucking suck. So honestly, like at one point, it's kind of like, do we even deserve to like? Do we even really deserve to be here? Just let AI take over. Fuck it. thumb is gonna come in. Knuckle, 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 knuckle. Knuckle, 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 knuckle. Okay. I think that's a you thing. Honestly, it's just like fear mongering is never gonna like achieve anything. If it is something that ends up taking a lot of people's jobs, I think that might happen a lot more in the coding industry. Uh, it seems like a lot of programmers are like worried. And with do note, like honestly, it's a terrifying thing if you are a programmer right now and you are gonna have to compete against that because it's not gonna be possible to compete against that. As with art, like let me tell you something. Like it's gonna come if it does come to the point where people can just do like a point and click design. Great. Honestly, eh, like I'm not concerned. If you're a creative person, you'll find a way to be creative. Like before when Photoshop like was starting to like, take hold and it was getting big and people were like complaining and like, "Oh, the digital artists are the devil." And they still say that. There's still like people that think that digital art is like going to like destroy the industry. And then like that shit came out in like 1980. How many of like you guys know of people that go like, "Oh, well, I'm a real artist. I'm not a digital artist." Like all those idiots. I'm sorry, but that's honestly what I think. Like it's just a tool. So if we learn to use AI as a tool to improve our art, to take away the meaningless parts of it, the parts that you don't really care about doing, if we are able to actually generate something with it and see what we can do, why shouldn't we try? Yeah, you're gonna get like people that were like, "Oh, well, I'm an AI artist generator." Cool. Let them like have their title. I mean, whatever. Who cares? Like if it makes people be proud of doing art, then great. As long as they are doing it respectively or respectfully. Like if they're not taking other people's art and they're just generating it from like a database of accepted images, then you go for it. Yeah, if you can open it, if you can do it on like open source, like royalty free stuff, go for it. Sure. Like the real issue is just them sampling from people that have no royalty claim to that, even though their art is being used. That is my only concern. This guy seems to be able to draw with any pen. I mean, it's just a tool. It's just a tool. Like anything that you pick up is just a tool. You just need to learn to apply what you know how to do with the other tools to that tool. So, digital, traditional, it doesn't matter. As long like if you can draw, you can probably draw digital, right? If you can draw on a piece of paper, you can probably draw digital fairly easy. You just need to learn what the tools do, what each one does. That's it. That is the only difference. And then you have a whole new tool like arsenal that you can play with to achieve whatever you have in your brain. The reason that we get art block and all that crap is because we like limit ourselves to just like a single type of art or a single type of like we like stereotype ourselves, right? They're like, oh, I'm a digital designer. I'm just a graphic artist. I'm just an editor. I'm just a cartoonist. I'm just an animator. Like, what are you doing? You're not just an animator. You are like a motion artist. You're a designer. You're creative. You are pretty much a director if you're animating at all. You're so much more than just that one little title that you give yourself. So stop categorizing yourself and diminishing the world of creative possibilities around you just because you want to belong to a little group. You belong to already to a massive group of people that are able to create. You don't have to like seek out and like segment yourself even further than that. That just eliminates a lot of potential in your future endeavors. Like maybe you don't want to just be an animator or a storyboard artist or a graphic designer or a marketer or an advertiser or an editor or a video designer or whatever. Maybe you want to do more, and you should, because you can, because you're a creative person. What are your thoughts if I feel like I'm losing passion for art, but the fear of quitting is a scar? Uh, if you don't feel like doing art and you don't like it, quit. See how you feel after like 3 months, 2 months, a month, a week. And if you miss it, go back to it. And if you don't, then don't. It's actually relatively simple. Yeah, everything is scary. Walking out of your house is scary. You might get run over. Uh, you know, doing anything in the world is scary. Why should that stop you from doing it? Let's see. We have all the stickers in our sketchbook. Oh, I like that. It looks like all the sketches are coming out from here. Cool. All right, we'll make it that. Cool. Do you have any tips for learning, understanding form? Look at the video from the start, and I pretty much explained it from scratch. So like I repeat this almost in every video, so you can just go scroll back to my other live videos on my YouTube, and I explain it a much more in sense a lot. So you can go do that. Plague Doctor, but now everybody will be able to use this tool and the artist's work will become much cheaper. No, it won't. No, it won't. Oh my god. This is like the same dumb thing that tattoo artists think is going to happen. Okay? If other people enter your field in a creative field, that does not mean that your work is diminished. Because if you are actually a skilled artist, you still stand out from everyone else. So don't be afraid of other people competing with you. Just do it better. If you're afraid of competition, this is the wrong field for you. It's just a tool, but we all know the simple big pen is the king of ballpoint pens. Jokes aside, it's better than any pen I've ever tried. It's actually good. I'm gonna go buy Rodgon, but everyone, hey, thank you. I'm glad that I caught this live. Thanks for sharing. Keep up. Aw, man, I've been enjoying these. Hey, thank you. Competition drive you should always improve. How do you stay consistent drawing characters? Draw them a lot. Draw them over and 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 over until you can't not draw them properly. That is it. That's literally it. That is the only tip that I have for that. If you want to draw a character well, draw them a million times. And then draw them a million more times. And every time you draw them, keep track of any time that you don't draw them right. Be self critical. Telling yourself that something is wrong and fixing it is the only way that you are going to get better. But if you keep drawing over and over, but you keep drawing the same mistake over and over and over and over, well, then you're never going to get better. You're just going to have a lot of practice drawing the same bad drawing. So teach yourself. Tell yourself you are wrong sometimes. It actually helps you. I like when Rodgon does something like, hey. I don't know what you mean by that. Let's add some color to this. Alright, let's do some blue. And just like the first page of my sketchbook, the last page of my sketchbook has to normally look pretty. So I just like to add a little bit of color and put a little bit more time into the final piece. Again, I'm also not a perfectionist. So if something does screw up and something smudges, something does not go according to my plan, I just go along with it and I just do something with it. Like, again, you are a creative human being. You and I and everybody here in this chat, most likely, if you are following me, you most likely have this weird superpower. And you guys know what that superpower is? That superpower is being able to take anything you guys touch and make it pretty by literally just putting your own spin on things. By taking a pen and drawing on something, you make things look beautiful. You guys have like the Midas touch when it comes down to making something look better than it was before it met you. I absolutely love getting secondhand clothing, like at a thrift shop, and then just making it my own. I love that. Like it's one of the things that I love doing the most in life. Like I straight up like adore doing that. Because I know that just by being able to spend a couple minutes with something in my hands with the intent to make it look pretty, it's going to happen because we as artists just have that ability. We just need to learn to be more confident, more driven, more outgoing, more spoken, more less shy, less timid. And once we achieve that, then we can start sharing that beauty with the rest of the world. It's a big pen. It's just a ballpoint pen, not a gel pen, a ballpoint pen. A cheap, run of the mill, go to the bank and steal it from your bank type of pen. Right? It's not like anything that's substantially hard to find. That's why I like drawing with them. I also like drawing with watercolors and highlighters because those are like things that anybody can grab. Anybody can use that. It doesn't matter what part of the world you're in. You you can just grab a pencil and a highlighter and then use it. Plague Doctor Rodgon, have you ever worked in game development? I have helped develop a couple games. It was some like military, like RPG games for the phone. So that it wasn't really like anything super special, but it's something that I've already like done. So yeah, technically yeah. Do I take J Mac Scroogey? Do you take art supplies with you every time you go home? Yeah, Pouchy comes with me every time I go somewhere. Pouchy contains my watercolor set, my highlighters, a handful of pens, and anything else that I want. And then Pouchy shuts the fuck up and then comes with it. So I'm just waiting for this to dry a little bit so I can actually like draw it. So just give it a second. Meanwhile, I'm going to read comments. I've seen the dollar store. Yeah, the dollar store thing good. Does wearing a glove help with drawing? It helps not smudge it. Like it just helps the oils not get onto the page from your hand so you don't end up smudging ballpoint pen. I'm gonna I'm gonna come up with my own pal. Eventually I'll come up with my own little like kit. Like these are the guys from Walmart. I got Pouchy at Walmart. But I'll figure out a way to make my own little pouch puppets and then sell them with art supplies for you guys to have, like with a little glove and everything. So I plan on doing that for you guys at some point. That'll be fun. All right. So let's see. I would before you go into he's saying another guy is saying that he's struggling with lighting. Um, before you start seeing things with shadows and lights and stuff like that, I highly recommend that you keep on practicing seeing things in volume. Seeing things in volume is going to help you with your lighting and your like like shadows and stuff like that as well a lot. So I highly recommend that you stick with it until it's like a little bit clearer, and then continue on from there. No, okay. So if you are trying to draw, someone's asking, any tips on positioning characters? When I draw them, I seem to be stuck on a boring standing pose. Cool. Let's find some space to draw something. Let's see. Do we have space here? Yeah, we have some space here. All right. So if you wanted to draw somebody that was not necessarily standing still, just like that, because that's boring, right? What you got to do is you got to start playing with the positioning of your legs. So instead of having your legs on a flat plane, you can have them standing a little bit far apart. Right? Keeping in mind that you have to have your feet in a perspective plane at this point. Not just a flat surface. This is boring because it's nice and flat. A lot of people draw for like turnarounds and stuff like that, like that. But if you're trying to do a more creative pose, you can start doing different angles In this case, you are seeing a shape like this. Boom, boom. Okay. Your feet, your legs, your head. So you got to think of the bottom of your feet more like a little box. And the more you push it, you can get some very extreme poses. So that is something that you can take in minutes. Oh, thank you, narcoleptic Jesus. Hey, what up, man? How's it going, narcoleptic Jesus? All right, let's continue on this. That is an awesome name. Um, I don't even know what sketchbook this is. Jesus, I don't even think I have numbers for them anymore. Uh, so we will name this Sketchbook Complete. Sketchbook, and we'll call it Posing. Because that was our posing and storytelling was our theme. Complete. Oh. Oh, thank you. Oh, fingers and tiny. I don't know what that is. Yay, thank you. That's awesome. Appreciate you, man. By the way, the same thing, but a slightly different problem. Backgrounds. They suck on my art. Oof. Okay. Yeah, the thing is, with your if it's posing and angles and backgrounds, it's straight up just perspective, brother. Like you need to go back and go do some perspective work. Like you need to learn how to basically see things in perspective, because it seems like everything you're having issues with is with visualizing things in a perspective plane. So you need to really understand that concept. And even if you are an experienced person or you have a lot of years drawing, you might think that you know those concepts and just moved on from them thinking that you understood them, only to realize maybe that you don't really understand them. And it's our ego that leads us to believe that we already know a basic concept that doesn't really make sense to us yet. And if you continue down that path, you end up just drawing things based on style and things that just look pretty instead of understanding them. And when that happens, you end up, progressing very quickly at first, but then you end up getting stuck. Okay? You end up getting stuck and you end up like it's going to be harder to go back and relearn all these things than just learning them from the get-go. And I know that because I had to go through that. I spent 15 years without really trying hard to understand the concepts that would lead me to be able to do what I do now. Like I've grown more in the last 5 years than I have in the last 20. Mostly because I actually started going back to the things that matter and try to understand them. And so yeah, everything is perspective. Everything is perspective, and that is why it's such a consistent thing and why people tell you it's such an important thing. Perspective is literally like the basis of all character design. So yeah, but you don't see perspective like a perspective plane, right? This is not the type of perspective that we are talking about. What we're talking about is understanding perspective in the form of shapes and forms and segments and distances and negative space. That is the type of perspective that we need to learn. How something angles down, how something angles up, right? At what point it breaks apart, and what point does it look up and look down? Those are the type of perspective points that we need to understand, because that correlates to posing, that correlates to our characters looking cool, right? Having different perspective planes. This is just a box. So I'm just saying, like, if you want to get better, go back and realize that maybe you are not like completely aware of the things that are holding you back. Plus, I love the messages. I get little messages from Vicky throughout like my sketchbooks, and I just, ugh, that woman has me by the heart. Like, ugh. I'm like head over heels. Who are your favorite artists at the moment? Ooh, one of my favorites right now is Sketchy Finch. Sketchy Finch is so freaking good at drawing female characters. Like, dear God, she is better than Chris Sanders. She is better than Scott Campbell. She is better than those people. Seriously, go check out her work. Like, it's fantastic. Uh, the other person that I like recently is World Star Monster or World Monster. Oh man, like, but he combines like all these like super cute like little kid sketches, and then he combines them with like realistic line work for like certain parts of his sketch. So it ends up being like this cool combination of realism and non-realism, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. All right. How long have you been on here? Well, about for an hour already. So we will finish off our sketch by saying thank you to all of you, because without you guys, I wouldn't be here. If you guys do want to get more resources, and you guys are all looking for something else to inspire you, you guys can go check out my YouTube channel. I have about 200 videos or more already on there. Go to the live section if you guys want more streams. If you guys want more targeted learning, there's a bunch of videos on how to not starve to death as an artist. So please go check them out if you guys are so inclined. If you guys do subscribe, I would absolutely love you guys for that. I'm trying to get the subscriber count on YouTube to match the ones on TikTok and the ones on Instagram. So if we can do that, I get a plaque and I can actually make a living teaching you guys for free. So all you need to do is go subscribe to it, and it helps me, and you guys get lessons. Woo! Win, 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 right? Thanks, peeps. Thank you all so much for always being my sketch buddies. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Wish you guys the best. Hope you all get a chance to draw a little bit today. And if you guys feel so inclined to do so, smile a little bit. I think it'll look good on you guys. Okay? Take care. Have a wonderful day. Take you later.